What is up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Scythe and we are back again for some more Trove on the PC. Oh man, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today, folks. Man alive. So, I want to start out by giving a huge shout out to Merc_ because he always ends up giving me a nice little recap of what the dev stream ended up talking about and stuff like that. And then another even bigger shout out to, where's his username? Let me search it up right here. Shirokiri, because this guy is an absolute baller. He's actually... This looks like a giant pumpkin. He actually takes all of the questions from the dev streams and then puts them into a forum post. So that's awesome, and it's been extremely helpful because it's much faster for me to read through it rather than actually watching through an hour-long stream of the devs, right? Especially because I'm all pressed for time. So I'm gonna put a link in the description to that forum post so you can get a whole bunch of other questions answered. And I do want to mention this, folks, because I had an idea. What would you think if I ended up taking a lot of these questions that are in this topic and talking about them in a video? Would that be something that you would be interested in, is me actually recapping the dev live stream in a video myself, kind of similar to a patch notes, but you know, a little bit more focused on just the new stuff that the devs are talking about, because for today we're only going to be focused on a couple different topics. So first of all, the devs have actually talked about the Megalithic update, which is what they've been calling that new big, the console update. So what this update is going to do is it's going to end up bringing the console versions of Trove up to the same version that we're rocking right now on the PC version, right? With that, there is a lot of complications that the devs have been talking about. Obviously, there is tons and tons of new content and new code that's going to be added to the game, and thus there's going to be tons of new bugs that they have to deal with. And with that, I'm just giving a heads up here, folks, to any of you new Trove fans. In my experience with this game, I'm pretty confidently going to say that when that Megalithic update ends up coming on consoles, I would honestly be shocked if there was not, like, big game-breaking bugs and stuff like that. And with the console version only being able to update so many times a month, it means that whatever bugs or exploits end up coming out with that version of the game on console, we're gonna have to deal with it for about a month or something like that until they end up actually having a bunch of patch fixes and stuff, because as far as I know, they can't put any hot fixes on the console version. Maybe they're gonna rectify that eventually, but I just wanted to kind of point that out and let you all know it is going to be a possibility. This is probably going to be a minor bot that's down underground. I don't know what's with this insane lag right now, so I'm just gonna ignore him and try to go and find a new dungeon. There we go. But they have actually confirmed that it is going to take 1 to 2 months before the Megalithic update ends up actually coming onto the console version. So potentially next month, maybe, or the month after that, or at the latest the month after that. And you know, it kind of sucks that it's still so far away, yes, most certainly, but the fact that it is, like, the fact that they actually did talk about, like, a more solid release date, or a release schedule, you know, kind of give us an idea of when that update is actually gonna hit so that we don't have to keep second guessing. That's cool, that's great. Now, the biggest topic that we're going to talk about is the updates that are going to follow after that. So the devs have confirmed that the update they're going to have that's going to improve the club worlds and stuff like that, you know, add like a level system and proper ranking and a little bit more club control for club leaders and stuff like that, a little bit more definition to how clubs end up actually working in this game. Very excited about that update myself personally, but they have confirmed that that is going to actually be an update that is going to end up happening after the Shadow Tower update, and that Shadow Tower update is going to be after the Megalithic update. And with that Shadow Tower update, if you folks haven't already, you know, don't already know any of that stuff that's going on, what's going to end up happening in that update is they're going to be adding some new Shadow Tower bosses, and then thankfully the devs have actually confirmed a couple other things that are going to be added to that update. First of all, before we get into that, they have confirmed that one of the Shadow Tower bosses is going to be the Dreadnaught. which is like the coolest name for a bad guy in any video game, isn't it? Like seriously, there's something about the Dreadnaught that just is always so appealing to me. It should be the last boss of the game. Forget Daughter of the Moon. It makes Daughter of the Moon sound like a bag of cereal, you know? Like the Dreadnaught. And the Mark II, no less. It's called the Dreadnaught Mark II. From what they've described, it sounds to me like it's gonna be very metallic, very robotic in its style, because they've talked about how its tongue is going to end up being blades and stuff like that, and it's just gonna be something really, really over the top by the sounds of things that I think is going to be really, really fun to fight, hopefully, you know. Even if it just looks cool while you fight it and just bring its health bar down, Shadow Tower definitely has needed some work for a very long time, so it's nice that they're actually gonna be putting some love towards it. The other boss that they're working on, I can only assume is going to be the Hydra, because if it's not the Hydra, then I guess that means that boss is just canceled. And that sucks, because they already have some of the base code laid down for the Hydra, not to mention the Hydra itself is just such a cool boss idea for this game, you know? Like one of the things that I used to talk about way back in the day that I thought would always be really, really awesome for Shadow Tower bosses is kind of something similar to a boss that you might see in Starbound or Terraria, or a more traditional boss fight. Man, this lag is insane. Like, seriously, fix the servers above anything else, please. But I want a boss in this game where you have to attack a bunch of crystals that the boss is defending. Maybe it's a one-shot kill and you gotta dodge all of the boss's attacks or something like that. Kind of learn its pattern, right? And then you destroy these crystals, which again, destroy the boss's barrier, and then you would attack the boss and slowly destroy him over time that way. Kind of a little bit more strategy to it. Now, granted, that could end up getting very, very old very fast to end up fighting that boss every single week for a solid year, but I just still think that it would be nice to have that level of variation, even if it was something that was optional rather than required, because the Shadow Tower bosses are pretty much required if you want to actually progress, right? You have to kill all of them in order to kill Daughter of the Moon, in order to get a Lunar Soul, in order to get empowered gems, right? So it's required. But the other thing that they have confirmed, oh man alive, I am excited about this. They have confirmed that that Shadow Tower update is going to include the subclasses. Oh yeah, so those characters are gonna be right around the corner, folks. I mean, granted, this whole update in general, just based on where the Megalithic update sits, I'm assuming that the Shadow Tower update is maybe 5-6 months away. If that, maybe 4 if we're lucky. It won't take that long to end up actually getting it to show up. But even with the Megalithic update, who knows when that's gonna end up showing up. It might end up running into complications and delays and stuff like that, right? But either way, very, very excited about the whole subclass thing coming out. Did they end up mentioning anything else about the subclasses? Not really, but they did also say that they are going to be trying to improve the lag and the latency issues and stuff like that. Which, the thing that I find strange is how bad it's been getting lately. Is it just me? You know, am I the only one that's experiencing what we ended up seeing today, where I'm attacking a boss for 5 years or a chest with a melee character, by the way, and the melee characters are not very broken in this game. The ranged characters, oh, they are broken. But in general, on top of all of that stuff, because anyways, never mind, the latency is just something that always needs improved upon in this game, and hopefully one day they can actually get it to be something that's a little bit more stable, like it used to be, because it used to actually be pretty good, you know? But as more people end up coming to this game, of course, obviously, it means that we're dealing with more server issues. So it's fine, it's understandable, but it'd be nice if they would end up putting out an update that would actually make like a long-term difference, right? Now, as far as the classes are concerned, they have actually talked about, because they are working on the subclasses and stuff like that, they have been taking advice from the community on forum posts and stuff like that, that are talking about classes being rebalanced a little bit. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit myself, just to kind of get my point across. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go and make forum posts, and generally speaking, most of the people on the Trove forum community are very toxic and they don't really like me, so I don't really want to post anything over there. But maybe you find beautiful people could take the opinions that I have, kind of discuss them in the comment section down below, and just kind of let me know your feedback and what you think about it, or just let the devs know about it if you think it's a cool idea. I don't know. But in any case, what I think should definitely happen is, of course, all of the characters need a little bit of a rework. While the Neon Ninja is definitely the fastest farmer in the game, I'm not actually farming with him efficiently right now because I'm supposed to be backflipping all over the place. The biggest disadvantage to this game and to the classes is not so much like, it's not so much the numbers as it is the class abilities, you know? Like, once you end up getting the class gem ability for the Neon Ninja, you pretty much never need to use your ult. You can use it to end up getting, you know, it's really good to keep your Neon Ninja alive, because then you get a little bit more range rather than having to tag an enemy a couple times. But in any case, stuff like that just kind of plagues this game, where we have a class like the Shadow Hunter, where he straight up is broken. His ultimate ability is amazing. It one-shots everything. I would like to see the cooldown on it reduced just a tiny bit, so that he could actually be the same level of efficiency as some of the other characters, just because you should be able to pull off your ult every dungeon with the Shadow Hunter, let alone make the Shadow Hunter's ult work. But more importantly, like the big obvious ones, because those are just me talking from personal experience of maining both the Neon Ninja and the Shadow Hunter for such a long time. But on top of that, let's talk about ranged characters in general need a rework. The Fey Trickster's class gem ability needs to be changed. His class gem ability is useless. Maybe if it would end up doing so much damage that it could actually counter the fact that you are reliant on having 3 times the damage with the Fey Trickster by not taking damage, and then suddenly you get a class gem ability that self-destructs and thus does not take aggro, meaning that your likelihood of not getting hit by enemies is reduced. Like, seriously, the Fey needs a rework. The Knight, I've talked about this a little bit before, but honestly speaking, folks, I kind of wanted to talk about this now more than ever, because now the devs are actually acknowledging the faults of the classes, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring it to the attention of the community. Some of the stuff that I've been thinking about for quite some time, that I've been kind of messing with and talking about with my community behind the scenes and stuff, because the Knight, while some people swear by it being their all-time favorite character of the game, I think the Knight, if any character in the game, like, it needs a rework, it's the Knight. But the Knight is one of the rare instances where he needs to be rebuilt. The character itself is ugly. He's not impressive in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't feel like a hero, you know, and that's what you should feel as the Knight. Either he needs to be upped so that he's got more damage, or his abilities need completely redone so that he can actually be more of a tank. You know, and I just in general, stuff like that, I really wish that they would end up actually doing. I hope that as a community, we can end up having the devs see the light of all of this stuff and actually have all the characters end up getting a nice rework. Now, some of the abilities of some of the characters don't actually need changed, more so that they need little touches, like the Shadow Hunter's ultimate. Not only needs to work, but also a light, you know, a little bit less of a cooldown I would like to see personally, just because. You know, the Dino Tamer has been pretty good lately. He's actually not too bad, and once that tri-shot ends up getting added into the character, that's of course going to end up throwing him well over the top. And that's the big thing, is we can't really talk about what characters are going to need a rework after they end up adding the subclass abilities, because we don't know what that's going to entail. Is it going to actually be a full-on second class ability like like we've discussed previously, with it being the new replacement of a second class gem ability? Or are subclasses simply going to end up giving each class a passive ability that is going to affect their damage or something like that, you know? Who knows what's going to happen with that. Once that update ends up hitting, I think we're going to have, you know, the devs are going to have to run for their buck, because there's going to be a lot of things that are either going to need a rework, a rebalance, or generally speaking, a lot of the classes might end up becoming, like, hopefully, what I'm hoping is, ideally, we would want every character to be equal, so that you can end up playing as whatever character you want. And you still can do that, for sure, but as it stands right now, there's just certain characters that shine above the rest. Not only just because of their abilities, and how they actually operate. The Neon Ninja, for example, he's a great example, because his shuriken generally doesn't miss. Sometimes it does, as you saw right there, but generally speaking, it doesn't miss. It also covers a huge area and destroys lots of enemies. It also does a lot of damage. That's another thing, again, talking about the Shadow Hunter, because I have the most experience with the Shadow Hunter. If not reducing the cooldown, I would love to see his ultimate phase through enemies so that you could clear a whole room with his ultimate ability. I think that would single-handedly throw the Shadow Hunter back up to being a very, very fun class to play, because that, of course, is the biggest issue, is that a lot of these characters just aren't fun anymore. The Fey Trickster, well, I know some of you guys, I know that the Fey Trickster's your favorite, and I'm sorry to say it, but the Fey Trickster's boring, dude. It is. Like, right-clicking and teleporting away, the ability itself actually used to be a lot better way back in the day. The Fey Trickster would actually teleport based on where you had your camera facing, which was a lot better than having it teleport where the character is facing. Because what the devs don't seem to realize is you'll be shooting enemies all the time, meaning that you're gonna teleport forward pretty much all the time. Now, for those of you that want to get into the metagame, you could stop attacking and turn around and teleport. But that split second would actually make the difference of having to wait right there and not attack an enemy, because that would be the difference between you getting tagged, right? Anyways, these are just my personal opinions, folks. You don't gotta enjoy them. Maybe they're not even good. Maybe I'm just crazy. But I want to start talking about these things a little bit more, because I find these new updates that the devs are talking about extremely interesting to talk about. And I mean, hopefully you all do as well. Hopefully this video hasn't bored you to death. I think it's absolutely awesome what they're doing with this game. I am personally very, very excited for the new content in this game. And last but not least, I do want to confirm, this is a long while away, but I ended up talking with one of the devs about, like, how boring fishing is. They have confirmed that they are going to have a complete overhaul of the fishing and hopefully make it a lot more entertaining. We've talked about this in the past, but, you know, there still isn't that many details on it because they're still working it out. In any case, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I very much appreciate it. Also, we're going to give away 5 Streamer Dream Boxes today. I didn't really plan on giving anything away, but hey, we may as well. All that I ask in order to qualify for those, as well as just if you enjoyed the video, is to leave a like and then just leave a comment in the comment section down below, either discussing all of this stuff or just to leave a comment so that I can end up picking you for a winner, and then I'll leave you a comment reply to yours letting you know how you actually pick up the prize. But anyways, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Very much appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic day, everybody. Sayonara and stay epic as always.